Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Bitten Apple Presents Apple Bites. Today we have a really great show for you and some special co-hosts. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, happy Saturday. It's me, Les, aka Sister Slayer, here with the Bitten Apple Presents Apple Bites. Well, unfortunately, Ralph couldn't make it today, or he's sliding in late. He had to work, and life gets in the way, but there's always a plan B. And with that being said, we had a special host, a guest today with us that we were going to interview, but I think I should bring them in to co-host with us. They're really a great crew. We're going to learn a little bit more about them as the show goes on. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Sebastian, Tony, and Tony across the hall, and Jesse, James, right? James? I don't know what it is. Let's bring them in because they're going to host with us today. Here, they are all called the nerds of the round. That's all I know. They're the nerds of the round. So we're going to bring them in because we know that they can talk about any of these topics that we're going to present today. Without further ado, let's bring them in. Sebastian.
Yo.
Law.
Hey.
Tony across the hall. Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Hey, thank you so much for stepping in at the last minute to co-host with me. I mean, it's Tony.
It's Tone from across the hall, but Tony, it's all good.
Okay, Tone from across the hall. Sebastian, I know. And Law?
Mm-hmm.
That's it? It's Law, right?
Law. Yep.
I'm so glad I did not say what I thought it was going to be. Because when I got you all stuff, I was like, what's his name? Because, of course, I'm, doing everything in the background before the show starts. But thank you all so much for coming on board and hosting.
Thank you for having us. I mean, the secret is that we actually beat up Ralph in the parking lot so we can take over his spot.
I mean, it's not a secret anymore, but yeah.
That was the plan.
Oh, that must be when I hear all those sirens out there. Yeah.
Maybe.
See? Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the nerds of the round. I'm just going to pull you all up.
Well,
just okay.
We're just... So just a little bit about the nerds around. We're just three guys having fun talking geek culture and getting to talk to creatives. That's it.
Oh, yeah. That's similar to what we do, right?
Yeah, a little bit. It was originally just Seabass, and then I was one of his first guests, and then Tone took over as like a guest host once, and then became a permanent co-host, and then eventually down the line, I went from featured guest to co-host myself, and the rest is history.
Yep.
Oh my gosh! So y'all just connected. Y'all just had like because I got the impression when I was looking at your videos that y'all live in the same apartment building.
We did for
these guys.
Me and so the across the hall portion of my name is literally because I lived across the hall from Sebastian in our old apartment building. And so Law would just take the bus over to us. But fun fact, me and Law went to the same high school at the same time, but we didn't know each other then.
Right. And then me and Seabass worked together at Imbion. And then now so does Tone.
Yeah. Wow. So that was meant to be, y'all.
We were destined to meet.
Yes. And then I moved to Jersey at the end of July, and then Sebastian followed me. So now we live in the same neighborhood.
They left me. They left me here.
Yeah.
Wow. So now how far are y'all apart from each other now? I mean, right now everybody can get together virtually, but how far apart are you all?
Me like and Tony about
5-minute walk.
5-minute walk.
Yeah, barely.
Law is a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Oh man, 2 hours.
They're in Jersey. I'm still in the Bronx.
Wait a minute, y'all were in Jersey?
Yeah. I moved. So I moved to Jersey at the end of July during the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic, right? So I moved to Jersey because our lease ran up, and then Seabass helped me move, and he saw where we lived, and he was like, "This place is nice." So when him and his wife came down, they literally applied. And I got the reference, which was great. They applied, they got the gig, they got the housing, and then they moved in October. So now we're no longer across the hall, but we are in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so not to disclose
across the complex.
Not to disclose anything. I am also in Jersey. Where are y'all in Jersey?
We're in Mays Landing in South Jersey.
Oh, yeah, y'all are way down there.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes from AC. It's
30 minutes from AC, 40 minutes from Philly. It's nice. We've got a lot of good stuff around here.
Wow.
It was a good change and an eye opener from the little small boxes we were living in the Bronx.
Yes, seriously.
Isn't that? And listen, y'all got out. Did you all get out pre-COVID or after COVID?
No, it was
during, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So June 2020. July 2020 is when I moved.
July 2020. So everybody was like this mass exodus out of New York at that time. Like people were like, "Yo,
yeah,
I don't have a backyard to get out to. I don't have people just had a whole change of mind during COVID. There was like, I'm out of New York right now.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, you can't even walk on the street.
Yeah, I think for us it was this decision because the apartment complex we were living in during COVID, it kind of showed a lot of their weaknesses. Our lease was coming up at the end. Tone's lease had ended. And when we helped with the move, we checked out the neighborhood. He's like, "Yeah, do you guys want to check it out?" We came down, checked it out. We didn't want to feel like we were stalking, but But I think it was good because we all got to bubble together. I think it helped out too with COVID and everything because we will all just get together on Zoom calls, and now take like walks and everything. And I think that was something that was good that came around about that too.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all like family. Like it's not just friends. We're all family here.
Oh.
So y'all started streaming through COVID as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
our last in-person recording episode was like March. I want to say like early March, end of February kind of thing.
During I would say a couple weeks after the My Hero Academia movie, we did the interview with Sean Luke.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last in person. And so we started to ramp up and do virtuals. But I like to joke and say Nerds Around's been around for I would say 2 years now, two and a half years now. But we really became a thing. I would say Mandalorian season 2 when we started live streaming our shows every Tuesday, because that's kind of when we started noticing
the ramp up.
Ramp up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to say, it's been a great evolution. Again, I tell people, I'm the founder of the show, but really, I feel like the show was founded when we all got together and did that first creative series featuring Tony's friends, where me, Law, and Tony were finally, because we bumped up Law from a guest to one of the co-hosts, and that's when we really gelled, and Nerds evolved from there. And then over time, COVID helped us with this evolution where we had to learn how to stream the interviews. And like Tony said, when we started doing the lives, it was around the time of The Mandalorian. And we had tested the lives through ImbionCon's virtual event, with just testing it, and they were like, you know what? Let's try it for Mandalorian, and it just from there we have fun every Tuesdays going to lives and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And also to shout out to our director, editor,
Jesse, you're the best.
Boss,
and with Jesse, all things are possible.
Yes. She is the magic behind her. So she is the fourth nerd that people don't see in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. She's the one that works a lot of the stuff behind the scenes in terms of the editing, the audio editing. So she does all that on the background,
directing and producing, making sure we're on our P's and Q's and getting our stuff together.
That's kind of also how it happened with the live shows too, because the interviews are really good. We have a pretty solid cadence with interviews, and those are the ones she would edit, and those come out when they're ready to come out. But we wanted to also have relevant content coming at week to week, but having her edit those, especially when we would kind of go off on tangents that were good at the time, but maybe not good when you listen to it weeks and weeks later. So the live shows kind of happen because those are all raw. as they go up on YouTube. They're all raw. They're not edited down or whatever. Obviously, you know, we're not saying anything super crazy reckless or anything like that. But what you get on that Tuesday is what you get on the YouTube video. So that lightens the load.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what I mean, the thing is that a lot of things were created during COVID, and I think this is a venue that none of us saw happening, like going streaming live and just people actually tuning in and watching it. We never imagined that, and now it's going to continue because, you know, nothing I don't think is ever going to go back to normal, you know, after COVID.
No,
but people are going to still tune in. People are going to still. This creative venue is something that none of us foresaw while we were all joining one another. Yes, we had podcasts, and yes, we had YouTubes, but we did not have streaming to the capacity that it is right now. And so now it's actually an avenue in which we can get everything out there. And even cons now are going to have to think about that from the perspective of streaming, because now you are introducing your audience to a group of people that did not have the capability of patronizing your con. Now everybody has access to you in some form or fashion. It's an amazing revelation to a lot of us in the creative world. This streaming thing.
Yeah, I think 2020 forced a lot of creatives to kind of think outside the box in terms of how we were going to approach things. Because like we did In Beyond. Law was the showrunner for a few years. I was the showrunner the last 2 years. And again, amazing shout out to the entire In team, crew, and Eric Hutch for the founder of In, because we in March of last year we had decided to go virtual when this was all going down. So that was one of the ideas we were already flirting with, and doing a virtual con again. We approached it where we just wanted to make it a venue for people to come get together virtually, learn, get exposure, because we want to also make it a continued component to even the main show when we can have a safe place to hold cons again. But we want to expand on what the virtual show means to people. We know 100% it's not going to replace an in-person show, but we're designing the user experience where it's like, you know what, we want to create an environment for people to come learn, network, get together, and even test stuff out. Like last year, a lot of people, I think, got to test out things that they weren't accustomed to doing during the show, and we welcome that creative space, and that's what the con is all about. And the same thing with Nerds, we wanted to highlight the creators, not just their creations of what they're doing, but also their personalities. Hence what we do on Tuesdays when we're just, when we're just talking about all the stuff, talking about fandom and everything. We wanted to highlight, hey, these creators are cool. Check them out. Come through. Check out their stuff. And we've built a lot of great relationships through this way.
Yeah, I find that having our artists come on and talk to us and stuff like that give people access to them that they wouldn't have if they're at a con. I mean, there are people that commandeer a table and sit there and talk all throughout. You're trying to get stuff, signed and everything like that. But this actually gives you the ability to see them within their own environment. You can ask questions during the show and stuff like this. It's been mind-blowing, the success of any type of thing streaming. And yes, we were a part of the first streaming in Beyond Con. We tried, it was our first live show that we did. It was very awkward. But we tried, we got a little bit better at it, and each time it gets a much more streamlined. So by the way, thank you so much for inviting us to do that.
No, this is good. You guys have always been big supporters of the whole creative community, and again, this was just our way of, we wanted to help people, and that's what we did the show for. Which we're coming back again, and we'll be announcing soon.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're talking about that. All right. So of course, there's stuff that Raph and I always talk about during the show, and we have like little segments that we talk about, basically what's been going on in the world of nerdom and geekdom. And so I wanted to let's talk about some of the stuff that we were going to talk about. So I'm quite sure that you all have seen the final episode of the
Not yet.
He hasn't.
What?
He's dropped the ball.
Listen, whoa, drop the ball is a strong statement. It is Saturday. I was gonna watch it today. Yesterday was just an off day. I had way too much on my plate to do, and I wanted to give it my full attention.
Okay, well, you definitely need to give it your full attention. So Sebastian and Tone and I are going to talk about it without giving anything away. We'll try not to give anything away. This is one of the reasons why I only put this picture up, because I did not want to disclose anything from the last episode. In particular, the new suit. I did not want to disclose that to everybody and just blow it out the water, because you have to give the full effect of that suit when you see it.
It's tough because right now, like, a lot of people are in social media embargo waiting. That's why we try to do the launch.
Sorry.
That's what.
Go ahead.
That's why we try to do the launch on Tuesdays. That's why it's like it puts us in that sweet spot where it's like when new stuff comes out on Friday or Thursday, we have Tuesday to cover it. So it gives people enough time. If no one realizes that we're like, and then Tony gives the spoiler. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh no, I can't. I'm not giving the spoiler because because I gotta protect law. You know,
yeah, we gotta protect.
This isn't our show where like I'm reckless with spoilers. You know,
right? Well, I tell you, I usually like my Fridays. I'll like stack up a bunch of like the shows of the week. So I'll do Invincible. I'll do Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'll do what is the other show that just came out? My Hero, like a bunch of the shows of the week that I'll just like stack up and sit down, have breakfast, throughout the course of the day, do some work and have it playing in the background. But for this, I was like, I had way too much running around outside the house, inside the house. I was just like, I can't do it. Like, and then by the time I knew it, it was already time for us to record the D&D podcast that we do. So just no time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also too, it's because again, we're always like doing a lot of crazy stuff, and although we're always like busy and everything with schedules, like Law said, because Fridays is crazy, every other Friday too for some of us, but to give something about Falcon and Winter Soldier that's not spoilery is, I think, what this show did for people and what it did for the characters is that it showcased diversity, but it showcased it right, and it showcased social justice, social issues, and it showcased it right. And I love the message that we got at the very end of the show. There were a lot of great messages, which, again, we are definitely going to go deep into it Tuesday at the 10 o'clock hour, because we have a double special going on Tuesday. Because obviously Mortal Kombat dropped. We're going to watch it tonight.
Yes.
And then we're going to cover that at the 9 o'clock hour. So at 10 o'clock, we're going to come back and actually cover Falcon, which is because there was just so much to talk about what this show did in a matter of 6 episodes.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
But to just to kind of piggyback off of that, one thing just want to throw out there is that Anthony Mackie's transformation from Falcon to Captain America is just phenomenal. He's definitely taken on the mantle, but he's taken on the mantle in his own way, using his own personality traits and his own battle to still be Captain America. So he's not a carbon copy of Steve or anything. He's his own version, and just you see it in that last scene that he has, and you're like, yeah, that's Captain America. Like, he's not, he's not World War II Captain America, but he's still Captain America. And
what better person to speak to the issues of the world than somebody who's a person of color? And I think that was the most interesting dynamic of this. The writing with this was just amazing. The way that they could everything in that monologue that he did at the end, and to sum everything up that we're going through as a nation and a world, I was like, I cried through the whole thing. I'm gonna tell you, I had my tissue box right there and I was crying. I feel like what I really appreciated about this show is the authenticity of the lives of people of color. The authenticity there of the dynamic between people of color and people who are not of color. And the friendships that lie in between that can be still strong and deep, but people have an understanding of each other because they're, I'm going to equate it to this. Right now, with everything that's going on with the police and people of color, I have a sister who's a detective, and she was saying to me that, what's going on is not a racial issue when it comes to policing. It's just policing. It's bad policing.
Mm-hmm.
And what most police need to do is to do community service, know the community that they police, know the community that they protect and serve. And if you do, and you have a relationship with them, you're more invested in protecting those people instead of, and of course, ridding the bad element there, but also knowing people there for why they may do whatever they do, and not misidentifying people's purposes or intentions to the point that it would cause aggressiveness or violence. And that is kind of what I picked up in this episode, is the fact that, you see this dynamic between Bucky and Sam there. So there's just like this, that there's a unity and a connection, that they see each other as brothers, and they are fully immersed in each other's culture. They're fully aware of each other's culture. They're fully aware of the bias that takes place in each other's cultures too. This was addressed. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, and it is a testament to the storytelling of the show. Just in general, Marvel and Disney, they didn't shy away from the issues, because it wasn't just about the social justice issues that are going, the humanitarian issues, I like to call it, that's going on in the United States today, the commentary on that, but it's also world issues that we're seeing, because they touched up on that as well, because the displacement of these people after the blip and all that, it's reminiscent to how we see people of immigrant descent being treated right now at various countries on their borders, of being displaced and everything. And again, the show touched up on it very perfectly. I mean, again, I don't want to give too much away on the last episode, because I don't want to spoil it for Law.
Listen, I promise you, right after this, I'm having like a late-ish early brunch. I'm gonna have brunch and have my coffee, and then I'll be good.
Me and Tony want a phone call from you after you watch it, so that we could get your reaction.
I got you.
I did that.
I always do it. I always do it, especially for the big ones like this.
But no, I think especially in this last episode, they really, and like Tony said, it really was the transition from Sam being Falcon to Captain America. And I'd even dare say this, Falcon for many years in the comics was always considered Steve Rogers' sidekick, Captain America's sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
With this man, and not being Black Captain America, being Captain America, was a graduation from him being from sidekick to the main hero now. And I love the fact that, some people, they'll point out like, well, why is he? I was like, listen, no one complained about that when we saw Dick Grayson graduate to the mantle from being Robin, Nightwing to Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Captain America and Falcon, that was a sidekick at one point, and he graduated from that. Even in the comics, Bucky held the mantle of Captain America, and it showed that he graduated from being a sidekick. So I just think it was right, and this was the right time, because a lot of people don't know, in the comics back in the 80s, when they were introducing John Walker, Sam Wilson originally and Nick Fury originally were already candidates to become the next Captain America for the United States government. And at the time, in the 80s and late 70s, they said it in the comics, was like, the government was like, oh, we don't think the world's ready for a Black Captain America, so we're going to go with John Walker. And again, this is the story that they brought to the screen. This is old stuff that they brought to the screen now that was very relevant with all the stuff that's going on today.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave
I
that
really
history, too.
appreciate the line that Bucky said in the last episode, where he said, "Me and Steve did not understand what it would mean to give you that shield, and I'm sorry." Like that hit so so much.
Like next to each other too, with him seeing Isaiah. We had talked about in our show last Tuesday, just Isaiah saying, no self-righteous Black man will do it, and then you've got Bucky saying we didn't know, and he's kind of. And Sam is in the middle of that, like, yeah, sure. His ancestor was like, no one would do it, but he's like, I got to do it. I got to be the one to do it, and that kind of comes full circle in this episode when there's some interactions that we see. And I love what this show did. It didn't feel, it wasn't forced or anything. It was all organic and felt authentic. That this is what we needed to talk about. The scene when U.S. agent kills the guy on the steps, and he's being videotaped, while all of us who know what's going on immediately got what that was reminiscent of, but it also wasn't forced to make to make you feel a certain way. It just, that's how it was shot, and it was like, this is what we're doing. This is him doing this act, and you're gonna exactly feel this way. Versus someone who's not watching or doesn't know what's going on, either kids or younger adults that are not aware, just see him as a bad guy killing an innocent person.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Exactly.
And I what they're doing is great. And we found out that the writers of the show and the showrunners will also be doing Captain America 4. So it'll be exciting to see what they do with these characters in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I can't wait. I definitely can't wait. I'm there 100%. And I just want to briefly touch on this because I know you all saw it, or we're getting ready to watch Mortal Kombat and everything. You all don't know that my outside job, I actually am a company that works with WarnerMedia.
Ooh.
And so,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So I've been rooting for them to come up. I mean, it's going to be a long time before they get to the level of Marvel when it comes to their DC content. But I'm so excited about the last 2 films that dropped from WarnerMedia. One being the Justice League, the Snyder cut of the Justice League, and King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
And now Mortal Kombat. So I tell everybody from the standpoint of someone who knows the inside and from the standpoint of a fan, that there have been a lot of changes at WarnerMedia, and the guy that is now running WarnerMedia is a huge geek. And one thing that I loved about him immediately when he introduced himself to everybody during this acquisition that occurred with my company, he sent us a comic that it was his first comic that he had drawn. So this is a guy that worked for, he's worked for so many people that we love, and it's slowly getting to the point that it is basically being manned by someone who loves the content, so you're going to see better of them.
That's all we've been asking for, someone who appreciates the content, appreciates the creation of stories and characters and all these universes that we've seen, to stand behind these properties and make these properties be the things that we've seen on pages for so many years.
Yeah, there's existing story elements that you can pull from, and not to feel afraid to shy away from it. Marvel does it all the time. Marvel makes it unique, but they also pull from existing material to make it so you've got the connection of the comic book history fans and also people who are not aware of it. But it's Civil War, I think, is a great example. Civil War, we all kind of knew what Civil War was from the comic run and how they kind of played it out, but they still, the skeleton of Civil War, the comic, you can see was in the movie, but they had their own version of how the Civil War was going to play out. Right. And I think that that's what we want from DC. It's great when you want to pull Easter eggs from 5 million comics of a comic run, and that's cool because we see it and it's oh yeah, they did that, but it's where else is it there? Because at some point a Easter egg hunt is only as good as the movie is. And I'm glad Thanos did not have Mistress Death. It was fine that he did not have her. It would have been, it was fine. He didn't need that. He was doing his own thing. Yeah, exactly. So
I've been on my soapbox about this. Sonya and Law can tell you, which Disney did the smart thing of having Kevin Feige report directly to them, because originally Kevin Feige was reporting to the Marvel TV division, which was a separate division for Marvel movie studios at the time. And they saw that, with them doing that power play, Marvel and Kevin Feige, I don't think where they would be at today. And now Kevin Feige is in charge of the TV division because they rewrote all that stuff, and they're and what he's doing with the shows and all that. I'm excited to hear that this is the same thing that's happening in WarnerMedia. You have someone who loves comics, someone who knows the stories, who understands, and that's why I always said you got to get someone people who are fans and stuff who've worked on it, to understand how to tell the story of this media to get it to transition, to
Put the fans before your ego, please.
And that's exactly what he is doing. But the thing is, the process that there's been such a shakeup because a lot of people got fired. I don't know. That was all in the news. A lot of people got fired. He was like, "You got to go. You got to go. You're not with the plan of what we see for our company visually for the future." And so he let a lot of people go. And so it's just like all the dust is settling. There still is some transition going on, but you're starting to see us come out with stuff that is a little bit more what the fans want to see. And we're getting hyped about it. We're getting hyped about it. You got a captive audience right now. You should be showing them really good content.
And it's more successful than the previous stuff because you're giving the fans what they want. You're actually following what the properties are. And the thing what the Snyder Cut taught me was that as much as I like in the past, pick on Zack Snyder and all that, I mean, he's a great director who gives you a beautiful shot. I know that he's a hit or miss with storytelling, but this storytelling that he was able to put in the Snyder Cut, which was a director's cut movie, for many people, we saw that he had his wings clipped.
Yeah. And obviously. Yep. That's a whole nother story. We could talk about that. We can stay on that for a minute. We can stay on that for a minute. But anyway, I just wanted to shout out to everybody at the Horror Sideshow Market today that's going on from April 24th to April 25th. If you are in the Allentown, Pennsylvania area, some of our friends are going to be there. Deadly Grounds Coffee, Father Evil, and they do have celebrity guests that are going to be there. Felisa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Tom Matthews, and Leslie Easterbrook. So if you are in Pennsylvania today in Allentown area, go to the Center Hotel and check out the Horror Sideshow Market that's happening right now.
Father Evil is awesome.
Oh gosh, he's one of my favorite people. That's another person that I can sit here and talk about. He's one of my favorite people. And so let me just go on. We're going to do this quick thing. So we have something where we do a thing about people, superheroes that are superheroes of color. So I'm just going to do a quick run through of this so we could just talk about some of the people that I came across for our superheroes of color. So I'd never seen this, but I don't know, maybe you all are aware of this particular superhero. His name is Psychokinesis. Have you ever seen it?
I've seen advertisements about this on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, so the creators of Last Train to Busan actually came up with this character, and the Train to Busan, and this guy,
great movie.
Yes, absolutely great movie. So Psychokinesis was a film that came out, a Korean film that came out in 2018, South Korean film. It was directed by Yeon Sang-ho, and the film is about a man who is trying to garner a relationship with his daughter. And so secretly he's a superhero, but his relationship is more about his relationship with his daughter and the things that he goes through for his daughter. Obviously, we know what his superhero skill is. He uses psychokinesis, but I'm definitely going to check out this film. I had no idea that this film existed. But
there's a lot of. I recommend, like anybody's watching, definitely to look at the Korean cinema library right now because there's a lot of great stuff that's coming out, and even Netflix right now is snatching a lot of them up. I know
Netflix has a good amount of I watched Train to Busan on Netflix.
I'm watching Sweet Home right now, and that's another good coming out of Netflix, which a lot of people don't know was also based off a Webtoons comic. So to see this, I'm excited. Yeah.
So I am too. I mean, I love Asian cinema, period. So, but anyway, check out this character. Psychokinesis is his name as a person. His name is Suk-hyun. And this is definitely something maybe we could talk about later in the show as far as the Bitten Apple TV about this movie after we watch it. So actually, the other superhero that I chose today is our guest is here. Our second guest is here today. And the superhero that we're going to speak about is Niobe. And Niobe is she's a character that was created. She is part elf, and she is like a harbinger of truth. She's a harbinger of she's a savior to be foretold. She's been granted the ability to heal minor wounds and ailments, although she cannot harness the power at will, that she has to have the blessings of a goddess to do so. But this was created, Niobe, and we're going to bring him on here, by Amanda Stenberg. And she had she was, I guess, connected with Stranger Comics to do this. So Niobe actually she is life, she is death. Right. Definitely. Niobe is this beautiful character. We're going to hear a little bit more about her today when we bring in Sebastian Jones. But look at this, how beautifully drawn she is. And she is a warrior. There have been many people that follow Niobe as a character. I looked at something that actually had, I think it was, what's the actress's name? She actually brings this character. She talked about this character in particular, about how every woman has a Niobe in them.
Amanda?
No, not Amanda, but the actress. What's her name? My goodness!
She played Rue on Did she play Rue in was it
Hunger Games?
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah,
but she did. But I think that no, I was talking about this. Somebody actually made a quote about this character.
Oh, okay.
A famous actress saying that how this character is one of her favorite characters, as she buys the comics, and how that Niobe is a what do you call it? She's a hero, and she's an icon for, in particular, women of color, but also anybody that has an inner warrior spirit within them.
It's funny because Eric Hutchison, the founder of Imbion, was telling us all about these series.
Who says hi, by the way?
Yes.
Hi.
And he sent the books recently to me, and I just got them in the mail. That's why I was like, it's just funny coincidence. So I was like, oh, I'm getting to read.
They're getting to talk to Sebastian. Yeah, I think I see Sebastian hasn't come in yet, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the character until he comes in, and I'll bring him in. But Sebastian is with Stranger Comics. He's the founder and the president of Stranger Comics. And so let me just give a little bit of a background about him. Sebastian A. Jones, president and founder of Stranger Comics. Let's share something of his real quick.
I have the United. And I'm not opening that up because they sent it to me signed. So
don't open that up yet.
That one's staying closed.
Don't open that up yet. Don't open it up. Let me just see if I can find his stuff for Niobe. Sorry, y'all. See, this is what happens when I'm trying to talk and host at the same time.
No, we just,
run and host at the same time.
We just punish Ralph later.
Let's do that. Yes. All right. That's you all. No, that's not it. Give me a moment. But so what have you heard about Niobe as the character itself? So just to talk a little bit about that.
I heard about Amanda like being a part of the project and series I want to say 2 New York Comic Cons ago, in that ballpark. And I was like, oh, I gotta catch that. And completely I know my sister, I think, was really big on it for a while, and I was waiting to hear about it again. So I'm usually, I don't like single issues, so I like to pick up the trades. So I was like, oh, I'll pick up a trade when I can get a trade. And because of everything that's been going on, I completely slipped my mind to get back into it.
Well, there is a big, huge fan following for this character, apparently.
I'm sure. From what I've heard of the story is amazing, and then the art is incredible.
Yeah. And this is Sebastian when we do get him on, because I think he walked away for a minute.
Can I show off some of the?
Yeah, please do. Here? Please do. Hold on, let me bring you up forward. Let me bring you up close.
Just like a new comic series I need to read. That's what that looks like.
I know when Eric was telling us about it, he said because we all got heavy into fantasy.
Wow,
And
that's
he was like,
beautiful.
"You're going to really love this fantasy series right here. I got to send it to you guys." And again, and thank you for even sending us this book and everything. I mean, the artwork is just fantastic.
Look at that. Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
And this is like one of the many things that we've all been talking about. We want to see, more diverse characters out there. And I think that that's what that's showcasing. I mean, look, this is a beautiful cover. This is what issue 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
I would take out United, but that's signed. I'm like, I'm gonna keep that one signed.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's 4 issues. I was checking out their site. It looks like there's 4 issues. There is a trade to pick up on their website, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah. She's, I mean,
Yeah, that
she's
was issue 4.
I think this is, I'm not sure if this is fan art right here, but I mean, this is gorgeous. Whoever wrote this, I couldn't see your, I would definitely give you credit. I don't know who did this, but it's like gorgeous fan art right here. She's just a gorgeous character. So without further ado, you all, let's bring in Sebastian. Oh my gosh, type O. I'm so done with myself right now. Sebastian, Jones, come on in. Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Today.
Sebastian.
Hey, Sebastian, what's going on?
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you for coming in. And thanks for holding out in the background while we were going through the segment. So we really appreciate you.
You just didn't want my opinion on any of that stuff.
We welcome it. Come on.
I'll just hang back and I won't be like all proactively aggressive, like, no, I don't know what they're talking about.
No, it definitely was not that. It definitely was not that. We really appreciate you anyway, just being here. So you're going to be able to lend your opinion on a lot of things, because I'm sure that the conversation is going to go to different areas. But tell us a little bit about the character Niobe, because we were, and am I saying that right now, Niobe, or is Niobe?
I like the accent, the Niobe. It has it has like the acute accent. Just Niobe. Niobe, yeah.
Okay, Niobe, go ahead. So tell us a little bit about.
She was she's been with me for a long time. She was kind of a character I think I'd started to come up with when I was a kid growing up in England, and I was into D&D and painting miniatures. I mean, we even have like Niobe miniatures now. It's kind of crazy. And Lord of the Rings and comics and all that kind of good stuff. And I think what was happening was being a mixed kid growing up, I didn't, we all talk about this a lot. I'm 47 now. So you didn't kind of see the reflection of not just cosmetically but culturally and spiritually and so on, a reflection in some of the things I was reading or playing or gaming or whatever the case was, and so I wanted to kind of create this world that I was doing at the time, and Niobe was kind of started to be a bit of a reflection of my own vulnerability and my own ambitions and my wrath at times, and these dualities of spirit that I think we all share. And my hope, I think what I was trying to do without realizing, was have her make the fantasy world I was creating a better place. And as I grew, she kind of grew with me. And so many years later, while playing a lot of games in this fantasy world, I started Stranger Comics as a publishing company. I'd shopped around the idea of Niobe and her first introduction in this other book, The Untamed, to a few different publishers. And it just felt like at the time, I'm talking 2006 or 7. And it felt like at the time they were like, oh, this could be good during Black History Month. And, very surface and hollow and vapid. So I was like, I got to protect Niobe's integrity and her spirit and the spirit of the movement of the culture and what I was, very invested in on many levels. And I'd run a record label, for about a decade or so, and I'd put out historical old jazz and rare blues and old funk and stuff that 90s hip hop cats were sampling back in the days, And I was like, oh shit, I don't want to start another company again. That's a nightmare, Well, I guess to protect Niobe, I better start another company. And And so that was the birth of Stranger Comics. And so we planted Niobe as a seed in this Untamed storyline, and I'll get into that in a second. But we knew that if the trajectory was going to be Niobe to become the Spider-Man or the face of our franchise, and then having her own story arc. Niobe, she is life, she is death, she is spirit, and she is God. And then you can kind of see the trajectory, and then we have other kind of all sorts of other, like titles in and around her universe. And we didn't realize at the time. I think I was overhearing. I was just finishing up on something. I was very, very blessed. So when I wrote this with the Niobe She Is Life comic with Amanda Stenberg, and the artist that did the cover is a guy called Hyung. He's the lead concept artist for The Last of Us. That other image you were showing, the tall one, the warrior one, that's also by Hyung. That's for another comic series called Erathun.
Okay.
We didn't realize this at the time, became the first nationally distributed comic with a Black female author, artist, and hero in the history of comics.
Oh,
We
wow.
had Amanda co-write it and Ashley A. Woods do the beautiful interior artwork. So this is a piece of history.
Wow.
And we were like, we weren't going out of our way to kind of to make history, because that's absurd, but we just wanted to make something timeless and didn't really care if it was timely. It's always been timely, right? It's always been timely to kind of tell these stories. So anyway, I could ramble on like crazy. I'll just stop, right? But that's a little bit of Niobe. She is the Luke Skywalker to our world.
I love that.
I like
love
that.
Yes.
I like that. I love that. I love that.
I have a question from one Sebastian to another, because I know how it
Yeah.
is rambling on and everything. So you brought up D&D. Again, bringing up D&D and everything.
Sure.
What was your favorite class in D&D, and what at this point, what classes did you use to kind of inspire Niobe? Because I love the fact that she is a person of color that is an elf and not being referred to as a dark elf. Because
Oh God, yeah, I fucking hated that shit. Can I swear on this? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Too late now.
Go ahead now.
Too late.
Yeah.
I am from England. I am from England. Yeah. It's so interesting. So I played this character called Scarlock back in the days, and he's actually in the Erathun series. Plug for that with Niobe,
Ooh.
and also in She Is Death, the Niobe She Is Death. He is one of the guys. And I hated the fact that Drow and Dark Elves were like the bad dudes, were like black skin with silver hair. I was like, that's some bullshit. What we wanted to do was kind of create it from a more anthropological standpoint. Like the quick version, if you're an elf and you're from Ujoa, our continent of Africa, you're black. If you're from Hurfang or you're Scandinavian, you're white. You can get into migration patterns and all that kind of cool shit. But Scarlock was an assassin, and the Niobe kind of inspiration was more of a torn, fallen paladin. The concept of you're fighting for your god, but you're at conflict. You're at conflict with your god on your journey.
Wow.
Of righteousness, and how far extreme, right? Because in Niobe Shear's life, this is kind of more of a naive Beauty and the Beast story, but it's also about a young elven girl that returns to her ancestors to try and find her faith. And hopefully she can find her faith rooted among her ancestors. But what happens also if you're mixed, or are you this, are you that? Can you still not live up to what, is there salvation around folks, or do you need to still find it within yourself? And we went from Niobe Shear's life to the Niobe Shear's death one, and she gets a little older, right? I think this is the armor of innocence gets kind of chipped away, which happens, I think, for us when we're in our teens, again into our early 20s. We're like, oh, I can join Greenpeace and change the world. And like, oh my God, the world's really ugly. I can't just rely on faith. I got to hit people over the head sometimes. So Niobe Shear's death became kind of this multi-layered story, but it's also really about a young girl growing into this moment, and she becomes a bounty hunter, hunting down sex traffickers and slave traders to reflect our own black girls that get abducted. So it's this, like, I'm not listening to the God. I'm not listening. I'm going to be violent because it's the only way that's getting shit done. And then we'll have Niobe Shear's spirit to combine her faith and her fighting as she realizes she needs to be whole as a person before she becomes Niobe Shear's God.
Wow, that's deep.
That's awesome.
That is one
That is
hell
real
of a
deep.
one hell of a hero's journey.
I have like goosebumps all over.
Unfortunately, I have not read the comic, but now I am on your website, and I will be getting
Yes.
that 1-4 trade as a paladin player in D&D. This
snap.
This
That's
speaks to me
awesome.
greatly.
Yeah.
Very, very much interested in, and love the take that or the hate you have towards the term drow and what Wizards of the Coast use them, and obviously they're changing that now. Obviously, it's better now than never, but still, you took that and you ran with it, and you decided to make your own narrative and create your own story using these elements. So I'm into this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very much into this.
It's so
Same
funny.
here.
We even have while you're on the website, no plug here, but in the merchandising section we actually have a Niobe Pathfinder game from the first edition. So you could get the Niobe Pathfinder first edition module with new feats and spells.
I'm
and
gonna
Look at that. He just teased us with a good time.
I'm just gonna make a little tidbit of a note on that one.
and
the
the
figure?
Niobe and the Niobe miniature you guys can paint too.
Let's hold it. Let's see this.
Yeah, I'm halfway through painting this, but yeah, this is the first. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I first started out painting miniatures when I was 8, and then it's like, oh snap! Now I've got my own Niobe miniature. This is
So
bonkers.
we just got Tone to start painting
Yeah,
minis.
I just started
cool.
painting movies at 31. So
There
it's
you go.
nothing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And if you
Yeah.
guys want, and anyone that's listening, because I like to sell. I'm like, oh, come to my store. I'm kind of one of those guys. On the Stranger Reserve on the website, you can actually get all 6 trade paperbacks or all 6 hardcovers for 50% off. Like this month, you literally can get all 6 trades and all 6 hardcovers for 50% off. You can get the entire bundle. All right. Now I'm going to tell you guys how you first meet Niobe, and this is the pitch I gave. No, like hard plug. This is a pitch I give at conventions, but also I gave to HBO. All right. So the very first one we have is this book right here, The Untamed, The Sinner's Prayer. This is where you first meet Niobe. So if there's any collectors out there, we have a lot of rare stuff, first appearances. This is from 2009 printing. We have the first edition up there, but this is the trade. All right. So this is a story about a man who's stuck in purgatory. After 10 years, the devil comes along and he says, I'll give you 7 days to reap the 7 souls that murdered you and your family. The guy says, well, sign me up. He takes a drifter's return to a one-horse town in a huge world. As his memory comes back in broken shards, he realizes when he was alive, he was a bad man and maybe he deserved to die, but now he's on a path to save his family. On his path of vengeance, he meets a little elven girl called Niobe, and she reminds him of how old his murdered daughter would have been, giving this man a second chance that we men need to be a good man or a father. But he only has 7 days. The kicker is, what if she's one of the 7 souls he has to collect?
Oh, shoot now.
Yeah.
What if the devil set the whole thing up just to find her? Would you damn your family to save the world? Or would you damn the world to save your family? In The Untamed, The Sinner's Prayer.
Man.
As a new paladin who's contemplating the oath of vengeance, ooh, that speaks to me. Oh, I got chills.
There's a couple things there too. I don't know if you played Legacy of Kain or any of that. That's one of the things that happens is that question of damning the world for your own self or damning yourself for the world. That's definitely one that happens in the first one. But this is when did you pitch this to HBO?
I pitched this to HBO. We announced. I can think. What year are we in? I think we announced in the in the spring of 2019. So I pitched it to them winter of 2018, I think.
I don't know
So
why.
wait a minute. So what has happened with it so far?
Oh, we're in development. These things take a long time. But the fun thing is along the way. It's
all
fun.
under the WarnerMedia umbrella.
Yeah. It's
so
the fun thing too is I became and then to go back to Niobe before I spaced this. Remember I was saying like the end of the trajectory is she is life, she is death, she is spirit, she is God, and she is God. She has to bind the nations against the hordes of the devil, her father, the Untamed. So it all comes back around, right? And then
I need an animated series or a live action right now.
Right now we're working on live action, and this is one with Dusu. This is a story of Niobe's tribe. She just doesn't know it yet. Like this is a story about a man of the spirit of the jaguar deep within his soul. When the ancient spirit of the wolf comes hunting him, he has to risk unleashing his own inner beast and risk destroying the tribe he loves just to save them. So this is beautifully painted all throughout the book. And like the Untamed is beautifully painted. We spent nearly 10 years painting the Untamed as well.
Oh my God.
10 years?
Nearly 10 years. Yeah.
Can
I just say I appreciate you as a writer so much to like give a lot of that conflict and the moral dilemma. Like I love those stories being told.
Thank you. I see, Seb, you were holding up the Untamed Still a Fool. That's the third volume in the series. We have 3 Untamed volumes in the series. So we have the Untamed A Sinner's Prayer, the Untamed Killing Floor, and then you've got the Untamed Still a Fool. That was the one you were holding up. And fun fact, so you guys know obviously Cage, the Cage series. You know, each episode is named after a hip hop track.
Yeah.
Right. So the Untamed is named after each one is named after a blues tune. So Sinner's Prayer is named after a Ray Charles blues tune, Sinner's Prayer. The Killing Floor is named after a Howling Wolf tune, Killing Floor.
I think that's fantastic.
And also
so dope.
And then Still a Fool is named after Muddy Waters' Still a Fool, which is probably my all-time favorite blues tune. So yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm a hardcore music head. So you'll see also in a hardcore 90s hip hop. Fun stuff to discover.
I love this. What I love about it is that you already have her journey planned out. I mean, I feel like you've been touched by the gods to come up with something like this. This is deep. I mean, just the whole concept. I don't even think that I could sit alone in my room and think of this kind of stuff.
But it's taken a while, and I think, it's interesting. I think as we get older, our kind of our perspective, allows us to kind of see more and become more aware. And I don't think I could probably have written this as when I was, younger. I needed to go through some ups and some downs, and like the guy, and what you're showing now is from Niobe Shear's Death, and that's the artist is a Jamaican artist, Sheldon Mitchell. Who does Erathun comic as well. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And he's doing a new one at the moment too. Like I'm doing a book right now called Niobe and Dura, Wrath of the Ancients. And on my Stranger Comics IG, I just posted, we had David Mack do 2 beautiful covers for the new one coming out. David Mack is just a beast. I interviewed him yesterday. So if you guys, anyone that's out there, wants to follow Stranger Comics, you'd be an idiot not to.
I mean, I think they'd be an idiot not to purchase the books right now after that sales pitch too. Come on.
Yeah, definitely.
So we do Thursday lives. I just followed you guys Night of the Round Table, and obviously we follow you at Bitten.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's of course it's a really, really super fun journey. And we do Thursday lives every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on our Instagram page. We do Stranger Cons virtually. We did one last month. It did incredibly well. This was actually we're selling this one right now. If you can see it.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous.
It's
That's
limited
beautiful.
to 100. We have for collectors out there. We have shiny versions of this. We even have shiny versions of. We did a reprint of the first Untamed Virgin cover. So if there's any collectors, let me know. You can always message me, and I'll hook you up with a deal. Or go to the Stranger Reserve or any of the book bundle deals. And yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And here's Assessor. Here's our nemesis to Niobe, also done by Hyung. If you can see, she's a Vorkassian vampire. And her first appearance is in Niobe She Is Life. She has a tragic love story too.
Wait, so so you said she was alive when she first makes her appearance, so we get to see in the story a transition from her going from human to vampire.
You know, we actually have the first issue of Assessor. So you want to get the first issue of Assessor as well. That's where you go back in time when she was human, and you see the symbol here of on Niobe's back, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same symbol that's painted on her face. This is the kind of the spirit of the angel, the goddess of light, Anumenel. Okay, and when you meet Assessor, you'll see she has the same symbol, but it's been burnt off, and you go, "Ooh, I wonder why." And you know, how was there a Niobe type before, and did she fall? Is she a real fallen paladin from grace? And you find out Assessor basically made a deal with the devil to get immortality, so she could be with a immortal. And then when he spurned her, she's like, "Oh shit, I got to get my mortality back." And the devil's like, "Bet, go and get me Niobe."
I am loving the lore. The lore is just so rich.
Yeah, I'm
like,
here.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
Thank you. And so super fun stuff too. On some of the trade paperbacks, we do have Pathfinder bonus content in the back.
Really?
Of our trades, yeah. And I'll show you. This is one for the D&D heads too. This is set in our Scandinavian part of our world, Erethun in Hurfang. Mm-hmm. So there's Scarlock down there, and there's Niobe there. That's Buxton with his cursed axe. And this is a story of a dwarf with a cursed axe. 2 souls to collect, and he can be rid of this axe for good, one of which is his brother the king, who casts him out upon return of pain of death. And this is literally like a massive dwarf v orc and ogre romp for the stake of their area, their kingdom, and Niobe's there older and there to help and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's fun stuff.
Yeah, I got some. It's a buy.
I'm just waiting because I'm gonna be on the stream for a while, purchasing, going through.
I'm sure between the three of us, we're getting off this call. We're like, all right, who's getting what?
I'm looking at the convention. Is that the one you're talking about, Sebastian? The convention deal?
Oh yeah, the convention deals are crazy. My recommendation, if you guys can swing it, especially because it's 50% off, is my best rec is the hardcover deal. Because the hardcovers there, and I'm traveling at the moment, so I don't have hardcovers with me, but they're they're oversized coffee table books, and they have bonus comics in the back and bonus concept art. D&D heads, you guys like the sketches and how there's interviews, all sorts of extra art and so on. So if you can swing it, and the Kickstarter editions, while they're on discount, has reversible dust jackets, and their embossed foil is on the title, and they're really pretty.
You guys were all out. I am here for it.
We did.
It's funny because we're part of a D&D podcast that comes on every Saturday. It's Medusa's Cascade. So we all play characters, and one of the cast members, which is Eric Hutch, the father of Imbion, he kept talking about how you guys got to read Niobe, you guys got to read Niobe, you guys got to read Niobe.
That's lovely.
Of it.
Yes.
And so it's like it's just funny how this all comes full circle right now. And
I love that.
D&D fans as well.
Oh man, this is perfect.
And you gave us a reading order? Yeah, man. Sebastian, this is amazing. This is amazing. I'm sure I'm gonna I'm sure after when we're in the green room afterwards, just want to ask you a couple questions so I can know exactly what I'm purchasing correctly, because I'm getting something.
I appreciate it. Yeah, for folks that if you guys are out there and you want to know what to read, if you want to start with just one, if you want the bundle deal, if you're collectors and you want to get first appearances and rare stuff, just hit me up. Let me know.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I just finished reading like 144 issues of Invincible, so I'm ready to read the next thing.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
And thank you for not doing the spoilers on the last episode of
That we-
Falcon
You
One.
didn't catch it either, right?
Today.
All right.
Today.
All
just
right.
tune in Tuesday for our
People-
thoughts.
Yeah.
People,
I will.
People spoil as soon as the episode drops at 3 a.m. and I'm like, give us some time. At least till Monday. Like that could be like the window. You have all weekend.
I don't know. There was certain shows where it's like you have no chance. Like Game of Thrones, I was like, I didn't feel sorry for you. Like Game of Thrones, even though it fell off the face of the map, was a worldwide phenomenon. And if you did not watch it on Sunday, I did not feel bad for you if you heard the spoilers.
Oh man, I am loving. Go ahead, Leslie. I'm sorry.
No, I go ahead and give your accolades because it is well.
No, I'm
well
giving the credit where
represented.
it's due. I love the art. I love the story. I love everything. And like I'm going to tell everyone who's watching in the comments right now, if you do not have any of these books on your coffee table in your bookshelves right now, you're just crazy. You're just
You are
crazy.
crazy.
You're
Absolutely.
crazy.
Gorgeous.
Look at that.
Unbelievable. Look at that. Oh my God.
Yeah, we it's funny is that image there is very symbolic of the moment. That's Scarlock we talked about earlier, the Silver Elf assassin. In my world, basically, I've got mythos I could drive you crazy with how the elves were born and how they
Listen,
split into different factions.
Don't tease us with a good time. So Tone and me love good lore.
Don't tease me with some lore. Listen, I'm a repository of Game of Thrones lore for no reason. So
Okay.
I'll take more lore. I'm here for it.
More law for 500, Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Or LeVar, right?
4,000. I'm
LeVar,
going for the
yeah.
last
LeVar.
one.
But yeah, that it's so Niobe on that image, like Niobe's mostly known for having dreadlocks, and that was very, very important for me too, because I feel like a lot of times, we lighter folks or mixed folks or so on very much want to try and find our place, and anyone in general wants to find our place within certain types of culture. Where do you find yourself? And people in general, can we fit in? Maybe. Where do we belong? And so in Niobe Shear's life, it was very, very important for me to kind of have her rooted in this kind of quest to find her inner spirit, and seeing, can she find her spirit amongst folks like. And then when her goddess turns her back on her because she starts to do some dirt, she rebels like teenagers, so she cuts the locks off and so on. It's like, I'm now feeling singular of character and so on. But she'll find that she'll need to regrow that hair and rekindle that bond with her mother before she takes the devil's path, right, which is her dad essentially. And this image here was very important to me, to also just show symbolically a beautiful, strong, yet vulnerable Black woman. I think sometimes the tropes get to like, oh, she's just a strong Black woman. It's like there's got to be layers and layers and layers, and and if she is on this kind of Joan arc to Cleopatra, Queen Elizabeth, kind of, married to the land as opposed to someone, can she put the world before herself? So that's by Jay Lee, and I'm really. I really like to kind of play with those kinds of that kind of hero's journey.
I love that image. I mean, I love how in that image it captures a strong woman, a vulnerable woman. It captures fragility, but it also captures strength. The tones of white there that we're using, and just the mixtures of the colors. It's very visual appealing. I love the whole what is the word I'm looking for? The whole poses and everything that they chose, because it just
composition.
The composition, yes, it tells a lot just by looking at that image, and that's just a fantastic image. Again, I'm going to say it again. If no one owns these books right now, this is another reason to own it. Look at this beautiful art right there. That's just
that is gorgeous.
Thank you. And Jay did this other piece, and I'll hold this up for you because I don't know. So he did this piece here, and this is one of the first pieces he did for us. And again, I kind of wanted to kind of play with the concept of obligation versus adventure. Like the expression is, I have to do this thing even at the cost of my own, my own personal goals, right? What I want to accomplish in life for myself. So you really kind of was really trying to capture that mood. The reluctant warrior, the as she's taken this journey. And one thing too, we talked a little bit about. Okay, so Niobe's symbol, that symbol on the back, this symbol here, where she does her hands folded, very Wu-Tang Clan. Right? So that's also the symbol that's marked on her back. Now, a lot of folks might have seen we have a variant limited edition cover when we went from this, and Jay Lee did this. If you can see it, it's a little Wakanda-ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny. We did this about a year before Black Panther came out, and the goal was essentially we'd gone from opening her hands to receive the goddess as gifts to closing her fists off and getting them bloody to turn away from what that is. So that's kind of the reason why we play with this symbolism. Plus, it's very Kemet and Egypt and so on, and with the raps and so on. So we get as deep as possible with as much symbolism as possible. There we are doing the Wu symbol. Yeah. The Niobe Wu symbol at Phoenix Comic Con. Yeah, with a bunch of cosplayers. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that again, as a fan, especially again coming up in comics, we're starting to see more and more diversity. I think this is fantastic. That this character you're showcasing definitely has a place because with looking at with the images, again, it's a breath of fresh air because that's another thing that I'm not sure a lot of people are seeing. When we see female characters in comics, there's always this trope that's always drawn. And yet you guys are still capturing elegant, fragile, but yet she's strong and everything. And again, kudos to you guys. Kudos to the artists and kudos for what you guys are putting together, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the attention to detail and the creation, the time and research and energy you put into this, because I can tell there's so much love poured into this and all the things that you've been working on. So as a creator myself, but as a fan, already, this is amazing content.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we definitely pour our soul into this bad boy, and it it's funny. Some folks, it's a sensitive time and whatnot. And for us, we definitely see the, representation matters, in very, in a very severe way, I think. And I think, a lot of times where we're at, there's a symbol of the duality of spirit for Niobe, what she wrestles with, the demon on one side, the goddess on the other. And that's essentially, these are actually two characters, funnily enough. So the one on the left is Vastar, the first undead, the son of the devil. The one on the right is the metamorphosis of Dura Ujela. And Dura is the, essentially, they're both brother and sister. They're the creators of the world. And Vastar was once a good dude and turned. And Dura actually kills her brother, so he turns and falls to hell and comes back with vengeance. And Dura essentially is so they are the first people. So when you see Dura, I just posted the David Mack art piece of Dura. You'll get to see her adventure, and our new comic with Dura and Niobe is essentially they're going to be on the run. Dura and Niobe. Niobe's at this age, so imagine kind of like Yoda or Obi-Wan teaching young Luke, and they're on the run and they're running from Vastar, who's trying to kill them. And Dura's like, oh shit, do I give Niobe download all this information to this kid on the run, and she's also dying? And can I impart all this wisdom knowing I failed in the past with Assessor and maybe other people that have come before? Is she going to make this turn? So and I'm writing that one with my executive producer partner on the show, Prentice Penny, who is, if you guys know the show Insecure from HBO.
Yep.
Okay, so Prentice is my EP on the show with me. Nice. And he and I are we're up to a lot of mischief at the moment that we can't talk about. It will be soon, and he and I are working on that particular comic as well. So lots of fun stuff. But before I lose my train of thought, I was going to say, when I was young, I'm a Virgo, and I guess I'm just kind of a guy that questions everything. You know, I remember being in the assembly hall, and this might upset some folks, and forgive me, but I never understood, you know, as a young guy in the assembly hall, I asked, "Excuse me, sir, why is God a man?" I don't, you know, nothing, it didn't, you know, logically as a young boy, I would ask all these questions. It was like, get out, Jones, you know, none of that, you know. And so it was very important for me to create our Messiah character as a woman, and a Black woman, but also a woman that could reflect everybody while also being very pro-Black and pro trying to find her place. That's really a lot of that is the reason why she is. So there's a lot more depth to, and that's why I'm going back to the point of representation. I love the rising tide raises all ships. And I love the fact, you know, we see representation, and I love all that stuff. Sometimes I'm always like, as long as the nuances aren't missing, and the creators are willing to dig deep and not just go, oh shit, this will make shitloads of dough. This is hot right now, and you know, there we go. That's the image. Okay, so this is the point right here.
That is really beautiful.
Yo.
So
Yes.
So of course, Huey Newton, right? The classic pose. What I wanted to make sure is it had some evocative imagery. Okay, so this is the concept of Niobe. If at the end of Nabi Shear's death, something bad happens to her and she gets in a second chance, who is she going to be? So I say with Niobe, there's a quote. I go, with a world divided, who do you turn to? If this is the end, who will you be? So this is the opportunity for Niobe to come back and fall in the under, like what happens with the Cessa, or go into with Dura, the shaman on the right, and become God, become Cleopatra, become Queen of Sheba, you know, like all these kind of things. And that's the shield of Zun behind her and the symbol of our Numenor. So it comes full circle. But this is really the epitome of the conflict of, I think, you know, a metaphor for what we all kind of can struggle with, you know.
Outside of the fact that it's beautifully drawn.
Oh yeah, the artist kills it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Again, the attention to detail, the symbolism and meanings behind everything. There's so much intention, and I love that is just not there for the sake of being there.
You see, thank you. And you see do you see Dura? Do you see her cloak is actually butterfly wings?
Mm-hmm.
You see the very bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dura.
Detail.
Thank you. So Dura basically is what we call the ancient of the butterfly. In the Dusu book, he's the ancient of the jaguar. He's the ancient of the butterfly because I love playing the concept of life and death and rebirth, and how that might affect someone that's basically created the world, and how many times has she lived, and so on. But always the symbol. I always play with the themes of second chances and rebirth, and what would we do, and as we hit different stages in our own life, in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on. At what point we were like, oh shit, I thought I knew, and now I wish I had a second chance, and what am I willing to do for it, you know? So yeah, I could ramble on. I'm telling you, yeah.
Listen, ramble on all the way. I mean, it's the artwork, everything, the story, like Tony said, all the lore that you're building behind this book. And again, this is a fantastic piece right here. I'm loving the art. I'm loving, like, again, how she pops out from the background, and again, it's a powerful image. It's fragile in there. It's powerful, and again, it's a strong woman that's in the forefront, and a person of color as well. And again, kudos.
Thank you. And this image is really thank you. Jay killed this. I wanted to kind of do also the classic iconic pose. You know, that we all see, Cyclops with Phoenix and so on down the line. And I wanted to do a play on this. Is this actually Niobe carrying herself? Like, I tried to do it on my own, Mom. I try to not listen to you. I try to like turn away and just do, like punch people in the face and not listen to faith or the spirit or whatever. So this is her offering herself and saying, but you also left me. So this is her holding her body at the end of Shear's death.
No, and I think this is a great, like you said, it's an iconic pose that's kind of used a lot in media in terms of comics and everything. I think it's great that you chose to use that pose of her holding herself, and I think it speaks volumes because I've seen, like you said, people have used it where it's holding Cyclops, they use a Starfire. I think the way you use that pose again speaks volumes in the character's journey and what she's going through.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
So now, after you have created this world and you finished the lore of Niobe, what do you feel is going to be the next step for you? What are you going to go on? Are you going to create more? Is there going to be a sequel? Is there going to be, what's next?
Yeah, the goal is always like, how can we create and thank you, how can we create a Marvel universe of fantasy? And so the world is ever expanding. And even in just the She Is series, Life, Death, Spirit, and God, there are going to be other tales for Niobe to enjoy and experience and so on. There are other characters as well in the world of Asunder. And also at Stranger Comics, outside of the world of Asunder, we have children's books that we do. And I just finished a really irreverent comedy comic called Ruining Christmas, which is the quick pitch on that is it's about two idiot Christmas elves that get the shit beaten out of them by the rottenest kid in all the land, and they lose Santa's hat, the source of all Christmas magic, and they have to go on a buddy mission to get it back. And I wrote it very British, so it's like, if you're sensitive and you're easily offended, you might dislike me. I think when I posted, I lost about 1,000 followers, like over the course of a month or so, because I think that's the two sides to us too, as well, right? Where we like, we want to be very, we want to honor a lot of things that need to be honored, yet at times I think we kind of lose the ability to laugh at ourselves, which can be dicey. So this is very much. He's like, "Ooh, he's a fucking snowflake. I wouldn't trust him to shovel reindeer shit." It's very British. It's like South Park, but Guy Ritchie in the North Pole.
Just I say
right.
this, just hang out with nerds for a week and all that. We'll roast you, and then like, you know what? No one's going to be soft anymore.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna speak to that real quickly, and this is totally off the subject, but this is what we were talking about. The difference between comedy right now is that everybody is so very sensitive. When there were comedians prior to everybody being so heightened about color, who made a living on making fun of this. Richard Pryor. Right. About people of different colors and stuff like that, but it was still all good. Nobody was offended by everything. So everybody's so sensitive right now. And if we can't laugh at ourselves, if we're all so serious, we're bound to break and have like a mental crisis because we're not allowed to laugh at our own biases, our own stupidity or whatever. It's just so crazy. Ugh.
You roast the ones you love.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, such is life. If you have siblings, you know that for sure.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, you all, we've got to wrap up. We're about to close out and everything. Sebastian, thank you so very much for coming on here and just being so gracious. You're amazing.
That's very kind.
This
so much for having
storyline is
me.
amazing. I'm so there right now, as well as the nerds around. This is just such beautiful content. I can't wait to see it actually visualized as a story. I guess you would call that
On screen.
On screen.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it on screen. I'm so there. This is a beautiful story. Just beautiful, and it's definitely well needed. So where can we find you? I do have some of your social media on here, but just give us a little brief, because you did tell me that you are doing other things outside of Stranger Comics, or that you're having other. You were talking about the thing that you do on Tuesday nights, I think, or Thursday nights.
That's the nights of the round. I think the guys are on Tuesday. I'm on Thursday on Instagram generally. So you can just find me at Stranger Comics. I'm terrible with my own personal Instagram, but I'm pretty good with the company's one. So Stranger Comics on all social medias, the Twitters and the Facebooks and the whatnots. Okay. And website is strangercomics.com. Yeah, we have a lot of fun on the lives, and I do a lot of discount stuff and original art, suddenly claims. And so if you guys are into all that stuff, come and have a natter. If you want to listen to like some good jazz funk and some good crazy music.
You beat me to asking you.
What you got?
I was gonna say, where do you have that stuff at?
So yeah, if you want to, now and again, I just rock the shit on the Thursday live. Like, oh, you like this cut? Then here's the original. Oh, you want to know a bit of this? So now and again, I do that. But apparently, my CDs from way back when are on eBay. So that was called MVP Records. MVP Records. So yeah. But it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. We have poetry competitions now and again. Some great guests come on now and again, and I talk a lot of shit. So yeah.
Nice.
Nice. So you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, out there, fans of Bitten Apple and fans of the Nerds of the Round. Follow Sebastian on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and he will be at Stranger Comics. Check out his shows and buy his content. We can't stress that enough. We are so into it, and I'd love to follow up after I've gotten the material and tell you all about it. I am so it's such a pleasure to have met you.
Thank you.
And Nerds Around, we're gonna put, where can we find you all each week?
Oh, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Nerds of the Round. That's right, the Nerds of the Round. Yep. You can also find Law. Law, where are you streaming?
I'm also on Twitch and all of these social medias, doing podcasting myself and YouTube, doing a whole bunch of things. We do way too many things. And then we also have the Medusa's Cascade podcast that releases every Saturday. So we're guys who do a bunch of different things, releasing a lot of content at once. But the Nerds Around, you guys can check us out every Tuesday. And then we have Creator Series coming out every other Friday.
And just to touch up on the Creator Series, to piggyback off that, we just dropped Rob Anderson's Creator Series on Friday. That's right.
Nice.
Rob Anderson.
Yes.
Rob Anderson. He's an awesome dude. So I recommend everybody. I recommend you guys reach out to him on your show too. I recommend everybody, because Rob is just an awesome dude. He's a sweetheart. And finally, you can catch me at Sebastian Bonet Art, where you can see me throw my art up sometimes. I don't know, whenever I feel like drawing.
That's me.
That's right. All right. And Tone, where can we find you?
I mean, I don't really do anything on Instagram. I've had some really failed posts. I've got about 5 to 6 posts, and I don't really do much. So you can catch me every Tuesday live with the guys, just talking and spoiling everything that we want to talk about.
Yeah. But if you want to see Tone looking like a badass smoking a cigar, follow his Instagram, because that profile pic is awesome.
Yeah, there's only 5 pictures. It's really cool.
And you can find me here, Les, aka Sister Slayer, here on the Bitten Apple TV on Saturdays at 1 o'clock. And I also have a show on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time called The Tingling Tea, where we talk about all things horror, supernatural, and paranormal. I also have a show that I do on Sundays with Evolution Comics called This Week in Pop Culture. Awesome. So we'll see you right here next Saturday, hopefully with Raph. Because then there will be anybody doing the show next Saturday, because I'm not going to be here. But hopefully Raph will be back next Saturday here at 1 o'clock on YouTube and on Facebook. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Please, please, please go like, follow, subscribe our guest and our artist today. And with that, we will see you next Saturday. Take care.
Bye.